All right, let's dive into a question that seems so simple on the surface, but is actually so profound it splits our entire world in two. What really separates something that's living from something that isn't? Let's figure it out.
It sounds a little like a kid's riddle, right? What is the biggest difference between a puppy and a planet? Or, a tree and a rock? How about you versus the chair you're sitting on? The answer to that simple question unlocks the very definition of life itself. To make sense of all the stuff around us, scientists start by drawing one simple, powerful line. It creates two huge groups that contain everything in the universe.
So on one side of that line, you have living things. Pretty straightforward. They have life. On the other side, non-living things. But here's the first really key detail. Living things are always natural. Non-living things, though, they can be natural, like a mountain, or they can be man-made, like your phone. So just to be super clear, a living thing has life, and critically, it's always something found in nature. We can't just build life in a factory. Think about it. All the plants, all the animals, they're all natural. Now that non-living category is way, way bigger. It's got these giant natural things in it, like the sun and the moon, but it also includes every single thing that humans have ever made. Cars, books, buildings, they don't have life, but they definitely shape our world.
Okay, so we've got our two big buckets, living and non-living. But how do scientists actually decide what goes where? What's the official checklist? How do we know for sure? And that brings us right to the heart of it all, the 7 signs of life. This is basically the master checklist that connects everything from a tiny little bacterium to a giant blue whale.
Yep, there are just 7 of them. 7 key characteristics that act as the ultimate test for whether something is alive. And here's the list. Living things move, they grow, they breathe, they need food and water, they feel, they reproduce, and eventually they die. Now here's the deal. If something checks every single one of these boxes, it's alive. But if it misses even one, it's not. It's a surprisingly strict system.
So we've got the rules. Now for the fun part. Let's put them to the test, because this is where it gets really interesting. These rules can apply in some pretty unexpected ways.
Okay, rule number 1, movement. The important thing here is that the movement is purposeful. An animal moves around to find food or get out of the rain. A chair only moves if you push it. See the difference? The movement for living things comes from within, for a reason.
All right, but hold on a second. We all know plants are alive, so according to the rules, they have to breathe. But they don't have lungs. They don't have a nose. So how in the world does that work?
And here's the amazing answer. Plants breathe through these tiny, microscopic holes in their leaves. It's a totally different system than what we use, but it's still breathing. The rule holds up. Next on the list is growth. All living things grow, but not always in the same way. Think about it. A person grows up to a certain point and then we pretty much stop. But a tree, it can just keep growing bigger and bigger for its entire life. Same rule, but a completely different approach.
And of course, reproduction. Making more of your own kind. That's another essential sign of life. And again, you see so much creativity here. Some animals give birth, others lay eggs. And plants have this whole bag of tricks, using seeds, roots, or even just broken off stems to create new life.
Now this to me is one of the most incredible parts. Plants don't have a brain or nerve endings like we do, but they can absolutely feel. They can sense where light is and turn their leaves towards the sun. They can feel a fence and wrap a vine around it. They are completely aware of their world, just in their own plant-like way.
So, we've walked through the checklist. But why is this so important? Why does this one simple dividing line really matter in the grand scheme of things? Because here's the big idea. This is not just a little sorting game. This simple distinction is the starting point for all of biology. Every question we could possibly ask about medicine, about ecosystems, about evolution, it all begins right here, with understanding what it actually means to be alive. And that leaves us with one final, kind of mind-bending thought. These 7 rules, they work perfectly for every living thing we have ever found on Earth. But what if we find life on another planet? Would these same rules even apply? And if you could add an 8th rule to the list, just for alien life, what would it be?